providing peace of mind is crucial to families, not only in the sense of like insurance or this in the sense of financial security, but just understanding that you don't have to worry, less anxiety, less nervousness. And that's why I started thinking about with that client and then my own family, brother, my mom, my dad, like Marisa, what happens to me? What's that actually look like? And what happens to them? How do I feel? Am I gonna feel the same way? Shit, like this is actual real life. And
real,
what if I got that phone call? What's that gonna look like?
All right, welcome to the next level. Got my man Rami Hamady with me today. How we doing, Rami?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
I mean, you're close. You're up in Boston area, right? A couple hours.
Yeah, not hour and a half, not too far.
Got it. My wife's going up there tomorrow with my daughter for a Tate McRae concert.
Nice.
So,
That should be fun.
Yeah, it should be, but
that-
not tomorrow, Friday. It'll be Friday, so I'm like, you're gonna hit some traffic. She'll leave early though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Boston traffic, dude. It's like
something else.
Oh my
They call us
God.
mass holes in a way. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. It's a different beast. I will say that.
Dude, it's like it's no rhyme or reason sometimes. It's
No.
like there's no accident, there's no construction. It's just and up, from here to Boston, hour and a half if it's, you're right there. Then all of a sudden, like you can see Boston
Exactly.
and now there's traffic and we don't know why.
It's because Boston's the only city in the world that's not gridded. I mean it. So every city's gridded where it's all one ways, do not enters. Boston's the only city it's not. So you can go back and forth, left and right, and that's
It
what
is
causes-
confusing up there.
Yeah, it's what
Boston
causes all the
is
commotion.
jacked up.
It
Yeah.
is jacked up.
Oh my God. Because my wife's from New York, so I'm used to
Okay.
like, dude,
You're
it's
used
great.
to
Yeah,
it.
you'd be pretty bad to get lost in New York.
Yeah,
you know?
47th, 86, exactly. You take a right.
Right.
That's it. You can't
you
go
know
back
your
the same
numbers.
way.
You can figure it out, right? You got
Yeah.
avenue streets. Okay, I got
That's
you.
it.
But Boston, oh my God.
Yeah, do you know it's tough. It is
Yeah,
tough. I ain't gonna
nice
lie.
city though.
It is.
All right, so what I want to talk about, first of all, if you've not already subscribed to the channel, put on the notifications so you know when we drop these every single week. But the next level, we like to talk about sales, right? Now, it's probably I guess a no-brainer. But specifically, one of the most important aspects of the sale is identifying your client's why. Some will offer it up. Some are pretty straightforward. Some you got to kind of, pull out of them, right?
Yep.
So you're telesales now. You
Yep.
sold in the home.
Yep.
I think you said to me when we were talking on your other podcast that you just took your in-home and did the same thing on the phone.
1000%.
Yep. So where in your process, in your appointment, are you identifying the client's why? When does that happen?
So I do it multiple times. So in the beginning, what I'll do is, Mike, so right from the initial phone call. So right when I'm calling you, so I don't do one call close. I book appointments.
Okay,
So,
you don't do anyone call close.
no one call close.
Okay.
Yeah, just all appointments for me.
Yep.
So when I'm calling you, I'm going through my script. I introduce myself, introduction, who I am. What am I calling about? Either a vet lead or mortgage protection lead. And I'm the underwriter. At that point, it's my job to explain the options you qualify for. I'm going to verify information they provided. Now, in the info they provided, all I'm asking is clarifying questions. Are you a smoker? Any major health concerns? Are you married? If yes, I re-ask the questions and to avoid a one-leg appointment. Then I say, are you working, retired, disabled? And most importantly, Mike, when you filled the form out, what was your biggest concern and who are you looking to protect? At that point in time, they give me their surface why, right? As you all know it, the surface why.
Yeah.
My wife, my kids, my burial, my cremation, my mortgage. Okay, I'll write that down on a piece of paper, but I'm going to dig deep into that during my appointment.
Okay.
So now I set the appointment. Now let's say we're here doing the presentation. So Mike, I know what you told me to fill this form out. You want to protect your wife, but explain to me most importantly, why do you want to protect your wife? Explain that to me in more detail. He'll tell me, I want to make sure if I die, my final expenses are taken care of, or the mortgage. Then I'll do a little herd mentality. I'll say, okay, you're like most families, like most veterans. You want to make sure that your loved one's taken care of when you pass. Okay. So, sir, now most people fill this form out for one of three main reasons. They either have no life insurance and they know they need some. They have some life insurance, but they know they need more, or they want to leave money behind for their loved one. Which category do you fall under? Now I'm trying to figure out what category do you fall under, because you have some life insurance, do you need some, or you have none, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm building the why. And what I'm doing is right in the beginning, I do what we call role and purpose. So what that is setting the table, being proactive versus being reactive. I'm explaining and talk about health, income, and death. It's going to be very uncomfortable. We're doing the application today, pretty much. Now, when I ask that and they agree, I'm say ready to begin. They say yes. I'll call the client, and if in the field, I'll look you in the face. But on the phone, I'm saying, So if you died yesterday, Mike, God forbid, what's that look like today for you and your family? I just don't want to talk anything into your future. What's that look like? Well, Rami, I'm not too sure. That's why we're on the phone today. Tell me what's that actually look like? How are they taking care of their burial or final expenses? How are they replacing your income? How are they going to pay the mortgage and avoid foreclosure? I'll find the pain points and I'll dig in and I'll ask clarifying questions: the who, the what, the where, the when. What's that look like? Who's picking up the pieces? Even though the client told me, Mary said, boss picking up the pieces, I need to know more details. Does she not make enough money? Are you the major income earner in the household? Are you scared to avoid probate? Depending on lead type, just tell me more about your why.
Yeah.
And I'll go into that. And that's how I really get the clarifying questions and build their why right from the get-go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enter medications, finances, nothing at all until they tell me this is who I'm looking to protect, the name, this is why, and this is the outcome. Because if they don't understand what that truly looks like, if you don't paint that picture, it's very hard to kind of get them to buy in.
Sure.
But when I tell Bob, all right, Bob, so you just told me that when you pass away, you want to make sure that, the mortgage is taken care of for your wife, Mary. Okay. Now, Bob, you make most of the income today? I do. All right. How much income do you make? 5,000. Mary makes 5,000. That's like the example. Say 8 and 2. That's 10,000 together. So Mary, if Bob passes away today, you're losing 80% of your income. Some may transfer over, but most will die with you because their income does die with us. What are you doing to replace his income? Now the wife's starting jogging in her brain. She's thinking, what do I do? She says, I don't know. That's what we're talking. And I'll continue to push. I don't take those answers when they tell me, that's where we're on the phone. I say, explain more detail. Savings. What are you doing? Do you have a GoFundMe account? How are you going to resolve this? Now, most of the time, my point in saying in that tone, I want them to tell me this is why I filled the form out. I'm trying to plant the seeds so the flowers grow at the end, or drop the breadcrumbs and lead them to the presentation.
Right.
But right off the rip, Mike, to be very blunt, all I ask is, who are you looking to protect? What are your business concern? What's that look like if you passed away? And talk to me about that. Do you make more money?
Yeah.
How do you replace it? What's going to happen? And do you know what that looks like when that time comes? A lot of families, they don't. Like with the mortgage, they think that I can just take the house.
Yep.
That was the case, guys. Every family in America would give their house to their family in a will or in a deed, and they would keep houses forever. For funerals, I wish we have some things that are going to pay up, but unless you have a GoFundMe or life insurance, not many things are coming out of pocket outside your family.
Right.
And nobody wants to burden their family. So throughout my inventory, I'll do a lot of clarifying questions to build that need and build that why. If they have work insurance, I'll destroy it. I'll be I'll talk about how it's not smart. It's only good while you're working. If you retire, you get sick, it's not going to follow you. Most homeowners or families or veterans have something private and independent to make sure it's always going to be there. What do you guys have the access to life insurance? And we just keep on going through that conversation.
Yeah. The one of the things that is key about that is not taking the, fluff answer, the surface level answers, and running with them.
Correct. You can't.
You can't. Like, you have to get that why defined, and life insurance is an emotional sale.
It is.
And if we're not going to get emotional in the appointment, how do we expect to make the sale? Right.
Exactly.
And there are some you may close, but the close is not the final piece, right? Because there's the placement phase, number one. So they cancel in the first month or two. Policy is not even considered placed. That hurts your placement rate. You get charged back. Client has no insurance. All those things are bad. Then the persistency after that first month. How long did this thing stay on the books? Because it falls off in the first year, you're getting a charge back.
Exactly.
Now, the good thing about life insurance, if it makes it past that first year, odds are it's going to stick.
Yeah.
But it's doing it the right way to make sure those things stick. So if you're having issues with either or placement, persistency, specifically persistency, and as y'all know, I mean, you guys get bonuses from us.
100%.
Persistency is a big part of that.
It is.
You get bonuses from the carriers.
Yep.
Persistency is a big part of theirs too.
I like my you first bonus.
There you go. You like it. But if you had bad persistency, you wouldn't like it. You wouldn't get it.
No, I like it now. It's 12%, I guess, for rewarding us for having good persistency.
Absolutely.
So I love it.
As they should.
Yep.
But it starts with that why.
It does.
Like it's if you're having issues with placement and persistency, quality of business, chargebacks, or your agency, a lot of debt, Mike, debt's rolling. Yeah, I know, but so are you doing that right? Or are you just taking when I asked you, what happens when you Pat, or why'd you fill this out wrong? I just want to take care of my wife. And I move on and start showing you numbers. I didn't do my job.
No.
No.
Not at all. Not even close. And why would the person feel comfortable as you as their agent, because at the end of the day, they want to make sure that, hey, first of all, you know what you're talking about, and
Right.
secondary, again, educate me. Stories, painting sell and stories sell, and buyers are liars. So when they tell you it's my wife or my husband, you got to get deep.
Yeah.
You got to evoke that emotion, like you said, because without the emotion, there's no buy-in.
Right.
And need supersedes cost. So if I can just get their need high enough to a point where they know they need it, I'm never Mike calling someone and not selling them. I'm not just saying I'm great. No, but I build the need well enough where they're coming 5K, 10K. Something is going with the family because they know a bank will never take a monthly payment and pay out a large lump sum. If I open a checking out today, me and you together, we can dump in $1,000 every single month. That's $12,000 a year. Now, that's an exaggerated example, but if I have an insurance policy, I'm paying $1,000 a month. That's gonna be a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So let's call it $500,000. Now,
Right.
would the bank ever take that $1,000 and pay out $500,000 tomorrow to my family if I pass?
Nope.
No. Will
Nope.
they pay me part of that money if I'm sick? No, they won't. So it's a smarter allocation of income right away. So I like to do, logic trumps stupidity, truly. And what I do is I like build the value, and I like to, throw in a little bit of daggers in there, like of logic, like, hey guys, why are you gonna put that money in the bank? Put it in a shoebox. It's
Right.
better off there with IULs and compounding interest and tax-free benefits. There's so many ways for us to, make that sale. But the biggest way to make it stick, like you're saying, is evoke the emotion and
Right.
making sure it's real life and it's actually making sense. What a lot of agents, they don't do, they explain 30K, 20K, 10K, but no one actually says what it does for the family
Right.
during the options. They just say, here's your goal, 30. That's it. All right, well, what's it do? So,
Yeah.
Bob, your 30K is going to cover the full funeral and leave about $10,000 behind for your family. That's $5,000 for Marisa, $5,000 for Christina. Now, your silver option 20, that's going to take care of the funeral as well and cover the cost of inflation. For your 65, I'm not betting on you dying. Odds is you're going to continue to live. People typically die in accidents or because of a sickness. At your age, the prevalence of sickness due to epidemiology is around 70 to 75. Therefore, sir, odds is you're not going to get sick until you're 75. I'm not betting on you dying again. So most importantly, this option here is going to take care of the funeral when that time comes. Now, unless you're on a tight budget, like most of my families I speak with, what we're going to do is we're going to do the starter package, the bronze, take care of just the funeral, no extra money, no inflation. Now, if you live to 90, Bob, you may have to come with some extra money out of pocket,
Right.
but we're taking care of 90% of it.
Yeah.
Now, which option meets your needs and budget best? And that's before I even explain what the policy does, right?
Right.
You can't buy a car and not know what kind of car, make, color, or model, right? Or the features. You're going to be like, I'm not buying it.
Right.
Same thing with a policy. Explain the features, right? Explain what it does, how it benefits the family. I know I'm being redundant, but you have to just make it make sense to the client. Make it affordable, make it comfortable, and make it make sense.
Yeah. And why is that so important? Well, for a number of reasons. One, though, it's what we're selling. It's a death benefit. I say this all the time on these podcasts. It ain't Tupperware, like, you ever seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
When they're running over the Tupperware, trying to sell a Tupperware, like, okay, you run over the Tupperware. How the hell is that going to help me?
Exactly.
Am I going to run over my lunch every day? But this is something that everybody needs. Not only that, if I don't have the Tupperware that my car can drive over, does it impact my life at all? No. But if I don't have life insurance, it don't impact my life. It impacts my wife and kids. Now they're screwed.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the part that it's not, maybe everybody's favorite topic to talk about. I remember guys would always say this, I don't like talking about death. I go, well, we have a problem then because I'm here to talk about life insurance, and that's part of it. So
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about death either, but guess what we're going to talk about? Death.
Death.
Because when you die, what happens here? Small thing. I early on, I would say if, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe it was when I had my first death claim. Like, no, it's not if.
It's when.
Because when. We're all going to die at some point.
100%.
Guy said this to me. None of us get out of here alive. I was like, I like that. No, we don't. We get out of here dead, I guess, But we all are going to pass at some point. So let's not dance around it. We're only talking about death. Yeah, me neither. But guess what, dude? You're going to die one day.
100%.
And what does this look like here when that happens? And the reason why it is such a big deal is because our clients do die. You've been in this business longer than a year, you're probably going to have a death claim or two.
100%. If you haven't had one, it's kind of weird. You're
Absolutely.
not doing the right job.
Like, I remember my first one vividly. I've had several since. And I haven't sold in years, and every once in a while I still get, a call. I had one like a year ago. Hey, my dad died. He had a policy with you. Is it still in force? Like, hey, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's check it out.
Yes, same.
Yes, it
My
is,
first
dude.
death came as well, man. I had one recently too.
Yeah.
Come up. Truly.
What so talk to me about yours. Your first one. You remember your first one?
Yeah, my first death claim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first death claim, it was a policy with a company. What happened was I helped a mom. She was a mother. Basically told me it was in the field. It was face to face, final
Okay.
expense mailer. I go into the house. I remember she wouldn't answer the doorbell, so I did the whole hand thing. I would call it the high five. Put
Yeah.
all my hand on all the ringers, and whoever opens up for me opens up. So I put all the ringers. The board buzzes open.
Yeah.
I walk in the house. I help Lisa. Long story short, she helps out her son, Lisa Reynolds. Remember to this day. So I help out her son, and unfortunately, she ends up passing away. I think it was a year or a year and a half later.
Okay.
The son ends up calling me, and he's like crying, like he's calling me, in tears, saying, "Hey, I have your phone number. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
told to call you. Something ever happens." I'm like, "Okay, talk to me. What's going on?" I didn't know who he was. I'm like, "Who are you?" Well, at first I thought it was like a family. I'm like, "Something happened? Like, is everything okay?" He's like, "No, my mom was Lisa. You helped protect her through life insurance. She passed away. Unfortunately, I think she had some type of sickness. I can't remember exactly what, but she died in the hospital." So he called me, and I remember that day just telling him, "Don't worry, it's gonna be okay." I think his name was Ryan, if I'm not mistaken. It was either Ryan or Robbie. I just can't fully remember her name. And I was like, "Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Like I told you, I'm the person that's gonna walk you through this step by step."
Yeah.
Called the carrier, sent the death claim packet to that office. They got it. They filled it out. I went and met him at a Dunkin' Donuts right down the street from the office, about 10, 15 minutes away. At that point in time, him looking at me and just seeing like the relief of like, hey, like things are gonna be okay for a little bit, because he had no money. He was broke. He's broke as shit. He knew that.
Yeah.
He's paying it if she didn't have this, and he didn't know she had it. Marisa always told me, put your business card on the refrigerator. Even when you give it to them, before you walk out, always put it there, because you never know who's gonna get it. He got my freaking card off the refrigerator, and that's why I didn't have his phone number.
Yeah.
Back then was my first year. I wasn't collecting beneficiary names, no information. Now I save it. Now, like I tell them, who's your beneficiary, what's their phone number. I save it to make sure I can call them. But yeah, at that point in time, I didn't know who he was, and I gave him the money, and he was thankful. He was extremely grateful. Seeing that made me think, hey, I'm doing the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Back to like our conversation about leaving the medical field, and is it fulfilling?
Yeah.
Definitely fulfilling, man. Having that peace of mind given to that family just made me understand that when that time comes for me, I'm happy because my family's gonna be okay, because
Right.
I have life insurance on myself and all the families I help protect.
Do you remember what it felt like getting that call for the first time? Like, I know you've dealt with death, right? Working in the hospital,
Of course.
but I think it's a little different, right? Hospital, they're there for a reason.
Yeah, you're in the hospital.
Not everyone's going to go to the hospital and die, but they're sick, right? So, but this is someone you met, a year prior. Now, obviously, you know that everyone's going to die, but you're not thinking, my client's going to die a year after I write
No,
them. Like, what was the feeling when the son called you?
I thought my mom. I
Yeah.
thought my parents, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My brother, my mom, my dad, like Marisa. I thought my family, my loved ones, like, what happens to me? What's that actually look like? Like, and what happens to them? How do I feel? Am I gonna feel the same way? So I got a little choked up a bit, like internally. I was not to the guy, but in my head, just full transparency.
Right.
I'm like, shit, like this is actual real life. And
real, yeah.
what if I got that phone call? Like, what's that gonna look like? And I
Yeah.
started pondering, thinking, and at that point in time, I'll be honest, I wrote a bunch of insurance on my dad. I'm like, if he kicks the can, my mom's in trouble. Like, my dad's a provider for my mom at this point, outside of myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, if something happens to him, my mom's not gonna be okay. So at that point, I said, you know what? I'm doing the right work. Let me go all in here. I'm like, at this point in time, I think that providing peace of mind is crucial to families, not only in the sense of like insurance or this in the sense of financial security, but just understanding that you don't have to worry. Don't have anxiety, like less anxiety, less nervousness. And that's why I started thinking about with that client and then my own family. And like, it's different. In the hospital, you expect it, like you said,
Right.
you're gonna desensitized to it. We see a
Sure.
lot of hospice clients, CMO, people go to the hospital to pass away, unfortunately,
Right.
And when you go in the field, like you said, I didn't walk in there thinking that woman was going to pass, and God rest her soul. But thankfully, she put the insurance for her son, and her son's thankful. But I had another story recently, Mike, where it was a lady. She called me, I think it was 3 months. It was recent. It was three to 4 months ago. It was, and it was named Anna. And she ended up calling me because she couldn't get her policy sent to her a little bit. Her
Okay.
house was off grid for a bit. And she called me not because he wasn't sick, he wasn't passing. She was just nervous not having the policy. It was on the phone. She thought it was a scam.
Right.
She's like, I got drafted. I see this company name. There's nothing in the mail yet. You keep telling me like you're my guy for life, but you're not like you're not sending it to me. What's going on? So I contacted the company several times. They finally got them the 7th attempt. After the 7th attempt, he passed away 1 week later.
Wow.
1 week later. And that to me showed me that first and foremost, go out there and give it your all again. Because
Yeah.
if I didn't continue to call that company and get that policy sent over to that house, would she have filed the claim? Or would it be another insurance policy that goes claimless?
Right.
So
Or would she have canceled? Right. Because
Or
she's
canceled.
thinking, this
Exactly.
might be a scam. Yo, I'm paying this money. I haven't seen any paperwork yet.
Exactly.
Imagine that. You didn't do your due diligence and you're like, lady, I don't call the carrier. I'm busy.
No.
And then
yeah.
she cancels.
That would have been terrible. And that, to me, I hold a lot of karma. I believe in good karma. You do good to others, good will come to you. And I'm a big believer in that. And no, that would have been bad karma for me.
Yeah.
So I made sure she got that policy. And thankfully, you know, she got that claim. And it paid out. To this day, I keep checking my back office. And it just says it's all set. It's all good.
Good. And that's the thing is, like, you need to, regardless of the appointment, treat every appointment the same. Treat every client the same, like from a level of importance. Like, it's easy to disqualify a client. You know, you look at the lead, a mortgage protection lead, and the guy's
21.
72 and
Where's
it's
that?
$400K, and you're like, huh? You know, my first death claim, dude, there were it's thinking back as you're going through it. I'm thinking back to mine. I'm like, there was a lot of things that I don't want to say didn't make sense, but in most situations, I probably would have walked away from. It was out in Bloomfield, outside of Hartford. Had an appointment. It was a mortgage protection appointment. They were both, I think, in their 70s, right? The loan was like, maybe $200K. It was like a line of credit, second mortgage or something like that. So right off the bat, looking at the lead, like, oh boy, here we go. You know, because then you got to do payment protection, and it's a different sale.
It is.
And I was in the business probably less than a year at this point.
Okay.
I go out there. We have an appointment scheduled. I'm ringing the doorbell. Nobody comes to the door. I'm like, you know, what the hell's going on? I'm getting no-showed. And I was not having the best day in the field up to that point. It's in the afternoon. I'm like, I just called this lady Saturday, said they would be here. I think it was on a Monday. And then so I'm like, normally at that point in my career, I would have just went to the next appointment. Whatever. It's a no-show. But I'm like, you know what? Let me call this lady. So I call her, and then, who is this? Well, you know, it's language barrier, not a language barrier, but they were from Trinidad, so a heavy accent. So we're over the phone. I could tell they're out busy, and like, what is this? What is it? So anyway, she's like, well, we'll be back later. I'm like, well, what time? I don't know. I'm like, okay. So I go run another appointment. Then I come back a couple hours later. They're there. We're sitting down. She's getting ready for dinner. I'm like, we all need to sit down. And her name was Barrow. Not Cheryl, Barrow. And the husband was Ozzy. Oswald, I think was his full name. But it's called him Ozzy. He had no interest at all in insurance. We don't need it. I used to have it. He gave me every excuse in the book. She, though, she's like, no, he needs it. Like, we need it. And they were on a fixed income. I think they both were retired. They had a grown son living with them. Like, and then due to his age and his health, I couldn't get him no term. I couldn't get him mortgage protection. So I sold them. It was a Forester's policy, actually. It was Plan Right back in their final expense. So I did the whole payment protection. But, dude, it was like pulling teeth. Like, he's like, I don't need that's not going to cover the whole. You mean every excuse in the book. And even her, like, well, why is it only this much? And I'm trying to explain. It's not the full thing. You want to cover. I'm like, I would love to cover the full thing, Ozzy, but you're 72 years old. You've had health issues in the past. Like, and you're doing pretty good now, enough to get a level benefit, right? And I remember, like, it was a no-go. And then she's getting upset. And I remember saying, I said, Ozzy, bro, if you don't buy this policy today, I think you're going to need it today because she's upset. Like, you know, and it kind of broke
down the wall.
It broke down the wall. And I'm like, dude, so what do you want to happen here? If you were to pass, what do you want to happen? I don't want her to lose the house. I'm like, okay, well, we can get you, I think it was like 25, 30K. I'm going to get you 30K. It's not going to pay off the whole mortgage, but it's going to give her some options. Exactly. She's not going to lose the house. She'll have some money for final expense. Like, long story short, they get it. Dude, it was almost 2 years to the day. I get a call from Beryl. She's crying. Ozzy passed, this and that. And I'm like, I'm like, I've been doing this for 2 years. I'm like, it was not funny, but everyone I was working with had death claims. And I'm like, I'm 2 years, haven't had one yet. And then Beryl calls me. It was just under 2 years, so it was still in the contestability period. But thankfully, I mean, within about a week or two, they got through it quick. I remember, and she's in her 70s, so I went back out, met with her, filled out the paperwork for the death claim. Because
Oh,
you
that's
can
amazing,
easily
dude.
email it, but I'm like,
No, you'll help
Beryl's
her. Yeah,
72.
72.
Like,
That
I
makes
don't even
sense,
know if
dude.
she knows how to access her email, you know?
Correct.
This is 15 years ago.
Exactly.
So I drove back out. She gives me the biggest hug in the world. And then I even went back out when the check was delivered. And then she got another policy on herself and got insurance on her son because now she's like, I see the importance. You know,
Power
not that
life
I didn't see it
insurance.
before, but I seen the impact. Like they're still in the same house. They kept the house. They covered the funeral.
Less
And
burden. They're happy.
less burden to it. And
Peaceful.
it's so rewarding, but it also, and I tell that story because I want to ask you, you know, after your first death claim, how much did it change what you did in the home? Because for me, and this is cliche, I think everybody says this, it became real. It's one thing for me to go, hey, when you die, this is going to happen. But now that I've lived through a death claim and I know that my clients, some of them are going to die. And then if they still have their policy, I'm going to be able to, you know, deliver a check or help facilitate a check. For me, it forced me to push more, to not give up, to not leave that house because there's a no-show. Let me wait a little bit. Let me make a couple calls. Let me ring the doorbell again. Let me bang on the door. Maybe someone, and when I get that first no or that pushback, like I don't even listen to it anymore. Let me
Right.
just move on. So when you had your first one, how much did it change?
So it did change. It did change
Yeah.
a bit. So what happened, I started looking more at the clients like my family. You know, that's really what got me deep rooted because I just remember thinking of my parents and thinking of everything that was going on. So at that point, I said, hey, let me talk to every client like they're my loved one and my
Yeah.
family. That way, when they give me a BS fluff answer, I'm going to push. And I
Right.
was told by an old mentor, don't be scared to push 15 times. I mean, on the 15th time you push, they're probably going to break.
Right.
And just continue to push. And that's what it really aligned me to do was be first brutally honest. So on every client I asked permission to be brutally honest. So the husband tells me, I don't need this. I say, so you're telling me right now that $85 a month is not worth giving your wife $20,000 to make sure that when you die, she's not going to the bank, arguing with them, trying to take out money out of a frozen account, potentially that could be frozen, and give it to a funeral home. Instead, let's put a monthly payment on the side where you're able to cover a lump sum burial. Does that make sense, sir? And he's like, actually, I never thought of it that way. And if I'm not blunt enough or that direct with the client, and I just said, yeah, sure, you don't need it, how am I going to help them?
Right.
So at that point in time, it really think of the client like they're my family. And the second thing I started doing is not only being brutally honest, but making sure that whenever I had a death claim situation, I would bring it up to the client.
Yeah.
I would say, hey, you know, I know you guys don't think you need this, but let me give you an example. Just like you said with the lady, I would say, hey, I had a family, you know, they thought they didn't need this at all. Husband was young, thought he was healthy as a horse,
Right.
had a heart attack, had to drop out of work, lost all his benefits. Now there's 50 years ahead of him of no income. He passed away 5 years later. Now the wife had to sell the house just to cover all the bills and expenses.
Right.
Do you guys want to be in that situation? No, we don't. Okay, so I assume that's why I filled the form out to make sure that when you pass away, you're not going to be a burden and your family gets a check when you die and you don't have to write a check.
Right.
That makes sense. And I just keep on going. So the death claim really had changed me, but it made it real most importantly. I know
Yeah.
it's cliche, but it does make it real.
Yep.
And then again, I told you I went on and insured my dad like crazy after that. Really, I really
Yeah.
did, yeah. And at that point, I was always just brutally honest with the clients. I never would take a fluff answer, and I'm not scared to literally sit in that home until you kick me out.
Right.
On the phone, now you're gonna hang up on me. It's
Sure.
it's much
Yeah,
easier.
it's a little different. Yeah, it's
a little
easier,
different.
right?
Hang
Yeah.
up. But I'm gonna tell you on the phone like
Yep.
you're being stupid. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't take this disrespectfully. You're being very ignorant and very like guys call it insensitive to your wife. I'm like, she's your loved one. You're supposed to protect the household. Stop telling me you don't need this. When you called me and you filled the form out, made me call you, you set a meeting. Now you're trying to tell me that it's maybe too expensive. No, it's either you don't trust me or you don't have enough information because confused people don't buy. Which
Yeah.
one is it? Then they'll break down and start telling me, well,
Right.
you know, credentials this, or I don't know how it's really going to work. Okay, it's months of payments covered. I have a ton of situations like that. Equity protection.
Sure.
Where they're 80, 75, 70, had cancer 5 years ago, a heart attack 10 years ago, was on Eliquis, and they asked me for $200K.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, Bob, it ain't going to
I'd
happen.
love to
Bob.
give that to you, bro.
Yeah, exactly. If I could, I would. Trust me, I'm
Yep.
not the insurance companies.
Sure.
You could beat them over the head all you want. But for me, it's about making sure that it's going to provide peace of mind. And for anybody that does mortgage protection, they should start saying it's not what it is to what it does for your family.
Right.
Mortgage protection isn't about always paying off the house. It's like you said, giving peace of mind so they don't lose the house and they're able to stay in the property, figure out what to do, and handle those final arrangements. And that's what I really start honing in on is not what the dollar is. Forget about the dollar.
Right.
What's it actually going to do for your family?
Yeah, because what's a good policy is one that sticks, one that they continue to pay, right? Like I could
Always.
easily, hike up their premium. Yeah, dude, it's not going to last. I want them to have a premium payment that they are comfortable making every single month, even in the months when things get tight.
Exactly, because the first thing I think of to cancel is what? The extra bill they just added.
Right.
If you make that affordable and have enough value and need on there, they're never going to cancel it.
Yeah.
They're going to make sure they keep it because they know how important it's going to be.
Right. It's you mentioned telling that story. Like up until that point, until I had my first death claim, I would use other people's stories. Like, Sean had a death claim. I would use his story and so if you're brand new, you go, well, what story should I tell? Dude, there's someone around you that has had a death claim, and I'm sure they've told that story in some so that's why you got to get on all the trainings, right? That's why you got to pay attention. But use somebody else's until then.
Make it your own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because stories move people. Stories, that's how you get somebody bought. I ain't go, hey, people die. Or, hey, my client who I met a year ago, her husband just recently passed, and I was able to deliver a check for $30,000.
Exactly.
And they kept the house that they would have lost without this. So tell me again why you don't need this.
Exactly. I think you don't need it.
Yeah. Like, it's, you're talking about people asking you to leave. So now this was at different company. So don't do this here. But we're not in the home now anyways. But we kind of had a rule, like you either close the appointment or you get asked to leave.
That's how it was, man.
Now, I didn't understand. So I'm a very literal person.
Okay.
You've met Sean.
Yes.
Sean's a salesman.
Yes.
So if he wants you to move here, he's going to tell you to go here. I ain't that smart. When you tell me to go here, I go there. So he's like, you push till you get thrown out. So I remember calling. I got thrown out of 3 houses. He's like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, you told me to do this. I didn't mean go there. I tell you to go there because most people only go here. I need you to. Well, I said, bro, you got to just tell me where you want me to
What
be
you wanna do.
Because if I don't, I can't. And my mind don't work like that. I just tell me to go here, I go here. But when you first start, a lot of agents, when we were in the field, is funny. Almost every agent would do this. You go out your first weekend. Maybe you closed 1 or 2, maybe you didn't, but you came back with the folder of go backs, right?
You follow up. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this house. Like, oh my god, they said Mike that they never leave people hanging. They always call people back. They never make decisions the first night. They said that to me. They went like, dude, they sold you instead of you selling them.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, I have. Maybe there is more, but I know vividly one client that I did go back to and close. But our first appointment ended with him asking me to leave his house.
Really?
So I left it all. It was, and you said this earlier, sometimes people just have a bad day.
Exactly.
This guy was having a bad day. He was not about whatever I was saying. He had a daughter. She didn't live with him, but she had, so I'm pushing on that. Like, dude, so what's going to happen to your daughter when you pass? And you have no life insurance, like you're going to have her come out of pocket to bury you. And she was like in her 20s and he's an older guy, like 65, 70s, like, and he got mad at that. He's like, you know what, just get that. I'm like, okay. I said, and he was like, I have a card. I'm like, what I need, you don't need my card. You're not my client, right?
Exactly.
Like, you have
You're
my
not
number
my
and your call ID. So, dude, no lie, Rami. The next day, I get a phone call from him. I see the number. Now, I knew his number because he tried to call and cancel on my way to the appointment.
Okay.
And we had a rule back then: you don't answer your phone when you're running appointments,
Yep,
unless you know that number.
Yep, 100%.
Yep, because I'm a can't. You get my voicemail? Nah, I run around like crazy all day.
Exactly.
So anyway, and I knew I did get your voicemail. I know that you canceled, but I showed up anyways. You filled this out, right? And then I'm walking out. You're protected. I got a policy. Yep. So. He called to cancel. I knew the number. Then I see him calling back the next day. I'm like, what the hell? So, but I'm out running. So I let it hit the voicemail. And then after my appointment, I check in and he's like, hey, I think his name was Roger, maybe Roger, Ralph, something like that. We'll call him Roger for this podcast. He's like, hey, Mike, it's Roger. I just want to say, I'm real sorry about what happened yesterday. And After thinking about it, I do really need the insurance. Would you give me a call back?
That's hilarious.
I'm just like, dude, I'm cracking up to my, I'm like, really, ain't that some shit?
Right?
Of all the go backs I had that never,
out
worked out,
the house,
the guy that asked me to leave, that, but it's almost like almost like the butterfly effect. Like,
really
if I didn't have the death claim that made me take this, even more serious and challenge clients more, I probably wouldn't have challenged him in that way. Like, hey, why don't you tell your daughter that you're not going to take care of this and she's going to have to pay for your funeral? He didn't like it, but I don't know if I didn't talk to him that way and challenge that, would he have asked me to come back after he asked me to leave? Probably not.
Probably not. No one is be truthful, right? You gave him the truth.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. And no one else in life is I say not strong enough, or like honorable, like, how do I put it the right way? Courageous enough to tell him that.
Right.
They don't. They're just like, oh, okay, I'll go out. It's like,
Yeah.
no, dude, like, you got to, push a bit. You got to make sure he knows, like, no, what's going on, man? Like, come on, it's your daughter here.
Because it may be you got to look at it like, this is my only shot. I have one chance with this client. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do today, I'm never going to come back. So I got to leave it all out there.
All on the table at all times.
Like, what are you holding back for? What are you keeping in? I don't want to say that yet. Who cares?
Exactly. It's like, come on, say it.
Yep.
It's like people get scared to buy a lead order. It's because they haven't cut that first 5K check.
Right.
Once you cut a 5K check, you cut a 10K check. You cut 10,000, cut 20. It keeps on going up. It's the same way with pushing the client on the phone in the field. If you don't say those words or push them, how can you expect to push the next client?
Correct.
Exactly what you're saying, Mike. And in the field, I was always taught that from everyone. Like you said, it's like always just keep pushing and just don't stop until they either, like you said, until you get out or know that you're buying insurance.
Right.
And most of the time they buy insurance because,
They
again,
do.
it's not like we're being aggressive and bullying them, but we're just telling them the reality. And we're like, hey, it's going to be uncomfortable. We're talking about death and finances. We're talking two uncomfortable things. Do you allow me permission to be blunt during the whole phone call or presentation? Yes, I do. It's game on at that point.
Yeah.
That's it.
And what you'll learn is, especially senior citizens, they have a lot thicker skin than you would believe. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to offend them. Like, you're calling veterans. Some of these guys have actually been to war.
Exactly.
You're worried about offending the guy, dude, literally was like 30 years ago shooting people and trying to survive. Exactly. Not everyone has been in the military, but like, dude, there's a chance that a good amount of them, at least, you're worried about, oh my God, he's going to be offended if I say this. Like, dude, come on.
It's like that saying, right? Sticks and stones may break my bones, words never hurt. It's like, I hold that to truth. Like, you can't hurt me with words. Like, come on. Like, it's not on the client on the phone. It's like, come on now.
Like, yeah, we're not saying offensive stuff. We're just going, hey, so when you die, what happens?
Exactly. What's that look like? And they get uncomfortable. They don't like thinking about it because they're procrastinating. That's why they're 65 and no life insurance.
Sure.
But that's our job to make sure that, hey, we're going to stop the train right here. We're going to make sure you get the right ticket.
Yep.
So now you don't have to get off the train ever again.
Absolutely. And why not for, because you want to make money, Mike. No, it's not that.
No.
That's a byproduct. It's because of what we talked about throughout this podcast is these people do die.
Exactly.
And they're coming to us for a reason because they're either uninsured or underinsured. So if you don't leave it all out there, why bother getting a license? Why bother buying leads? Why bother calling a client if you're not going to leave it all out there?
I 100% agree with that. And we always say to the agency, like, guys, leave it all out there. Like, be blunt, just be brutally honest, and just push. Because, especially on telesales, what I've seen truly with agents, it's hard for someone to have a soft phone call and not evoke that emotion on the phone.
Yeah.
You have to say some ballsy stuff to the person to get, especially a veteran, to get them to buy in. And like you said, if you don't ask the hard question, it's going to be really hard to have the right outcome. And I've understood, especially with the death claim aspect, that having that death claim shows me what that family received. And now because of that reward that they're going to have, we can provide that relief to so many other families. We just have to be just as blunt, just as direct.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, Rami, thanks for your time today. Thank you for this training. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing, kicking ass. You'll be a Hall of Fame member again this year, 4 years in a row, which is strong. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Go to fflconvention.com now. Get registered for next year's event. You do not want to miss that. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next week right here on The Next Level.